Hey, what's up, podcast? It's Jeff, and you are listening to a special bonus episode of Teach Better Talk. This is audio pulled from one of our daily drop-ins. That's right, daily drop-ins are back every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time over on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. This is happening from November 23rd all the way to December 18th, so join us on any of the social media platforms. We are at Teach Better Team for our daily drop-ins. We're here to support you, answering questions, talking about fun stuff, bringing on special guests, anything you need, we're here for you. Join us for the daily drop-ins. Let's get into this special bonus episode. Enjoy. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Tuesday. Wow, December 8th, 2020. This is your daily drop-in. I'm Jeff with the Teach Better Team. I have two of my favorite people in the entire world. Well, I have one right now, and then the other one's going to come in at some point. But I got Pav Wander with me here, and Chey Cheney coming in of Chey and Pav. Chey is getting in just slightly behind schedule due to some traffic, so he will be here shortly. And we're going to come back. We're going to talk about sort of what's going on in your lives up there in Canada and how that differs or is similar to school down here in the States. We'll take your questions. So if you're watching and you have something you want to ask and talk about, we might talk about the podcast that you and Chey run. We might talk about the Drive, which is your radio show. We got a lot that we can talk about. So we'll be back in just a few. Hang around. We got Chey and Pav this morning. Good morning. Pav, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing very well, Jeff. How are you?
I'm fantastic. We'll let everyone know that there's a good chance we might have some announcements or even a national anthem playing in your background. Yes. So if you see Pav stand up, she's being respectful to her country, so it's all good. We may have to stand with her, and we're going to see if we can listen to it. So yes. We'll be good with that. If you are watching live with us, because we are on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, if you're watching live with us, drop a comment in, say hello. Let us know where you're coming to us from, both geographically and what platform you're on. And if you have any questions as we go through here, there's something you want to talk about, something you're wondering about, something that's challenging you, or just something you really want to know about Chey and Pav, you can drop that in the comment as well, and we'll get to everything we possibly can. So, Pav, you're in school, so am I assuming correctly that you are all face-to-face? Are you 5 days a week right now? Is that what the status is?
Yep, that's right. Face-to-face, 5 days a week. And we have been since the beginning of the school year, just about a week delay. So it's been a great experience. There he is.
There he is.
Hey, Jeff, why did you let him in? This was our chance. We were going to start our podcast.
We did. We definitely debated the idea of like this was the start of the Jeff and Pav show.
That's right.
Just saying, like, it kind of works. Chey, Pav, Jeff, and Pav. Like, it still works. We
didn't. I'm just saying, this was our
How are
chance.
you, sir?
You know, I love how you threw me underneath the bus. Oh, Chey's running late. I've been sitting in the backstage for 17 minutes, sipping coffee, eating donuts, saying, please let me in. I want to unlock my unlimited potential.
Oh, look at that. Where's Brandon at? Brandon better be here this morning. Look at you. Yeah, Chey's been here the whole time. Pav and I were just having some. No, actually, I
told you.
What was there an accident? You were stuck behind some traffic? Because last night it was like, or earlier it was like Chey was going to be there. Pav might be right on time. Then Pav was super early and Chey wasn't here. So like, I'm not sure either one of you knows what's actually going on.
We don't ever. We never do.
So I was just asking Chey, I was just asking Pav because you're both in your classrooms right now. So are we back face to face? Are you 5 days?
We've always been face to face. I think
you have been.
Yeah, I think we were all hovering that we were going to shift out, and then we never shifted out, and then we sort of feel we're functioning like almost like Major League Baseball. They'll shut down spots or schools or classes, but they're never going to shut it all down to send us all back. And my feeling is that this is almost like this is a new, we keep talking about normal or the new normal. We feel our board is sort of setting itself up for this is our new practice. We've discovered how we can teach remotely. We're setting up venues to know that if students ever wanted to remain in that sort of virtual setting, we don't need to come back. And so I think there's a real, there's power in trying to maintain the system all the way through, so you can improve it going forward. So that's sort of one side of it. Pav and I teach in the high risk, the hot spots here in Toronto. So we're very careful with all the regulations, and our classes are greatly reduced. Pav has a little bit more students, but I'm teaching 13 kids this year because it's capped at 20, and then so many kids have opted for the virtual. So I teach in an empty hallway that once had 140 kids is now me and 13 kids.
So are there? So the kids that are choosing to go virtual, are either one of you also teaching virtual, or is that they go to a different teacher at that point, or?
Yeah, virtual school is an entirely different entity within the board. So they have their own principals, their own teachers, their own everything. So they have their own way of doing everything as well. So reporting schedule, everything is a little bit different than the face-to-face school. So it's an interesting experience because my kids are in virtual school, but I'm teaching face-to-face, and it's interesting to see how they're doing and how tech savvy they're becoming. I mean, so are ours, but just different platforms. So it's very cool. I know that your kids are also in virtual school, right, Jeff?
Yeah, my kids are fully virtual. Really quick, want to say good morning to Kate. Good morning, Dave. Dave's jumping in before the mastermind. Mark Heller, what's going on? Good to see you, sir. If you're listening to this on the podcast, make sure you subscribe. But then you should definitely join us in the mornings live every Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time until we're going all the way through December 18th. So my kids are fully virtual. So our district allowed for an option. You could go at the start of the year. You were either selecting to go back full 5 days a week with adjustments made based on our county level, COVID numbers and stuff, or you could choose to go virtual 100%. We chose to go virtual. Just the idea of potentially back and forth was going to be a little too much for our daughter, who deals with a lot of anxiety and stuff. I think my son would have been fine with it. It is what it is. So they've been virtual. They've both done very well. And we selected that again for the rest of the year. Actually just got a letter yesterday. The district 7 through 12, so the high school is now going fully virtual for at least the first half of January. As numbers have been a little high, not crazy, but they've done a really nice job. It's the Stowe staff here that's running the virtual. So it's a teacher that they would have normally had. All the teachers actually report to school, so they're teaching from their classrooms most days. I think they have the option to, because I've seen them a few times on lives where they're there. But they've done a really nice job of a good mix of different things. They've talked to us a lot about workloads and the type of stuff, and they've really got a nice, where they have a morning meeting, which is kind of their check-in time. They've got other ways for the kids to check in, so in case they can't make that morning meeting, they don't get marked, not present or whatever. And then they have a lot of several opportunities throughout the days where they can log on, but they don't have to. It all gets recorded. They can go back and watch it. They're very aware of the fact that everyone has different things. So I've been really, really proud of our district here and how they've handled it. And I think I'm probably a little more critical than most parents, so I think that's a good thing. Just because I see it, so many all over the place. But good morning, Chelsea. Good to see you here. So how are your kids doing with that? I mean, they're getting tech savvy, which I've noticed as well. Because we found out, Chey, we actually found out, Pav and I, our kids are almost the same. It seems like same ages, similar personalities. It sounds
same
like
personalities.
How are you doing with the virtual?
So I think Chey's kids. No, go ahead. I don't know. Were you asking me or were you asking Chey?
I was asking you. I'm really not even speaking to Chey at this point.
My kids are doing very well.
I'm going to go backstage. I'll see you guys later.
Go back to the green room. Yourself a drink or something.
You go ahead, Pav.
It's really to both of you. You can both share that.
No, my kids, it's just like yours, Jeff. We have it's a little bit different for ours. They have teachers that they don't actually know. They're teachers that were placed in virtual school or that asked to be teaching virtually at the beginning of the school year. So they're not teachers from the school, so they don't know them. They don't know any of the kids in their class. It's all just, a brand new class, but they're big classes. They're about 35 students in their virtual class. So it is quite big, but they're really liking it. The beginning was a little bit rocky, just figuring out, schedules and how they need to be on, and having, a consistent workspace and everything's set up and ready to go. So that was a little bit challenging at the beginning, but they've settled in really nicely. It makes me very proud to see that they know how to upload their work and get it into their portfolios and submit things. Like at 6 years old, that's really crazy to me to know that that he can be so, independent and proficient at these kinds of things. And he's teaching me because they use a different LMS than we do in school, in face-to-face school. So they're using something slightly different. And so I'm kind of learning from there, if I ever need to learn how to use Brightspace is what they're using. So if I ever need to use Brightspace, then it's like, okay, I've got a little bit of training from my 6-year-old now.
Yeah, your district obviously is much, much larger than my district here. So here, like when kids maybe have to go, so what they did is they went 5 days a week. It was about a week in, they had to switch them to the AB schedule. But as they're doing virtual, it's all the same virtual, so it's all similar stuff. So, who's rocking music back there? Is that yours, or whose school is rocking that?
It's the morning, the walk-in music.
Chey, how is it at your house right now? As far as where's your kids at? So, yeah, you're here. I'm talking to you now. You can speak.
Talk to your principal, Pav. Like, tell her, like, Jay and Pav are on with T Better and Jeff. Like, just shut the whole school down.
I sent an email, but apparently they didn't get it. I was like, hey, like, you need to cut this stuff. Like, just keep the kids outside for a little extra time. We got work to do.
Is it really loud? Can you really hear it?
I could just hear it. I'm like, I can hear enough to where I'm jamming. Yeah.
There you go.
I don't hear anything. I don't hear anything. What are you talking about?
Now I don't hear it.
That's just the music in Chey's head.
It's just so loud. I'm hearing it too.
Yes.
It's running playlist of George Michael.
Yes.
So Chey, go ahead and go ahead. How's it going?
I was going to say, I had 3 daughters, 15, 13, and 8, and it's been really good to center my own teaching and be much more, have a lot more grace, because I see the struggle and anxieties that my children are going through quite often. Dave is right on that. I'm getting drowned out by that music, and I'm sure Pav turned it up. I know you turned it up. Don't think I don't.
That's what she just went out of screen. She was turning it up. Yeah.
And so one thing I become more intentional is I can see the stresses on my children, especially the oldest. Is doing a hybrid version where she's obviously in home 3 days a week, at school 2 days a week. The other two have gone back to the normal situation, or the normal situation. Although my middle daughter hasn't changed at all. I still get an email every 3rd day from her teacher or vice principal about her behaviors, about her sneaking off school at lunch. And then the oldest one, I get a message, miss school. I'm like, how do you miss virtual school? How is that possible?
You just open the laptop. What's going on?
It's virtual. And so,
I like what you're saying, Chey. That sorry, I was really want to hit on the fact that you said that you're really utilizing that to help direct your practice a little bit, because there's like another level of awareness there, right? That because you're seeing it right live, and that's been something for me, like both from my kids, but also their teachers. For me, then when I'm speaking to other teachers, I'm keeping that in the back of my head of like I get it in a different way. I'm seeing it from here, and I'm trying to shower both of their teachers with as much praise as possible and grace as possible, just letting them know every now and then, like popping them an email, just saying, hey, like we just appreciate you, because like I'm seeing how hard it is, and then talking to people. So that's really cool. I like that you touched on that. Danielle said she thought that was just music in her head, which occurs a lot of times. Pav said like you were talking about how your kids didn't know the teachers, and I thought to myself, what if anybody watching doesn't know you two? I said I was going to have you introduced, and I haven't done that. So let's go there now. And Jeff learns how to moderate and host here. For anybody who is watching and chiming in, which, by the way, if you are, keep dropping the comments and let us know where you're at, what platform you're on, what you're listening to. Can you go through and just share who you are? So you're a duo. You got the podcast, you got the drive, you got all kinds of stuff going on, but you're also 2 individual people. So we'll take each one of you to share. Chey, I'm going to give Pav the first go. So, Pav, can you tell us a little bit about you, where you're at, what you teach? You can touch on the podcast and drive if you want as well. And that brings the music back, so that's why I went that way.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got Mariah Carey in the background singing us in with some Christmas music. But yes, my name is Pav, and I am a teacher here in Toronto. I've been teaching for about 15 years, middle school teaching, and the students are all going to be walking by behind the classroom, so you might hear them too. But for about 15 years now, Chey and I started the Staff Room podcast about 15 months ago now. And so it's still a little toddler in the toddler stages. And We've learned and grown since then. We've introduced a radio show on VoiceEd Radio called The Drive, which is music and teacher talk on Sunday nights. And the Staff Room podcast, we release episodes on Friday evenings for that. And just all kinds of things. We're everywhere. We're trying to be everywhere at least. So we've made some great networks. We've met up with Jeff and Ray very early on, and we've been connected with Teach Better for quite some time now. And now we are even featured on the podcast network. So really, really thrilled about that.
Awesome.
But yeah, that's in a nutshell. That's who I am. Chey?
Good morning, Hunter. I love that shirt, Hunter, in your profile picture there, by the way. But rightfully says Chey and Pav are awesome, all capitalized. Chey, you want to tune us into you as well? Now in a different school, which almost feels wrong.
I'm just a gym guy, eh?
All right, good. All right, moving on.
Pav's actually the one at the new school. I'm the one still in the same school I've been teaching at for 20 years. But as Pav talked about, we're both two middle school teachers. We branched off to, just refine our practice through other PD capacities, which just started as a little podcast we would film, not in the back of this room, but another room. And then I don't say it exploded, but we just connected with other people and just enriched our teaching practice. So we just tried to do a little bit more. And when you put yourself out there, as much as you're being vulnerable, there's also people appreciate it and they gravitate to you and they're like, oh, your message is really resonating with us. And a lot of opportunities have come our way. One, through our hard work, but two, also through luck. Nothing is ever so simple as hard work gets you what you want. Sometimes you just need a little bit of those lucky bounces, and we've been lucky enough to stroll across the right people that have given us platforms, right? Like Teach Better has given us a platform to share our voice. VoiceEd Radio has given us a platform to share our voice. School Rubric has given us the keys to their car to run a live stream on their program, and ultimately, no one would ever give me the keys to anything in my own school. So it's really nice to get the keys to stuff out in this world here. And it always comes back to our teaching's better. And it is tiring. I think anyone that does these extracurricular things, it does get tiring. It does get tiring. But when you get when you're building your capacity as a teacher, then every interaction just has so much more worth. So our journey, I know Pav calls us newbies. I don't really consider myself a newbie anymore, kiddies. We just continue to grow. We continue to get better. And so we continue to take on more things. And the day that our teaching is impacted on a negative is probably the day we would retract. So I would say we're never going to retract because our teaching is just growing and growing and growing. And we have such a network to share our stories and people to share stories with us that just further enriches our teaching.
Well, I definitely don't think you can pull the newbie card anymore. At this point, you're over a year into it. Consistent. We got multiple things going on. You really are. You seem to be everywhere all the time, which is awesome. Like I feel like your pictures are always popping up, and they're so great. Not when Ray puts herself in it, but yeah, I figured that was all Pav. I mean, we'll just always assume that, Chey, unless you argue otherwise. That's I've so just enjoyed like getting to know you. I can't remember. Actually, I do. I remember it was a good year or so, about almost a year ago. We spoke. I was in a hotel somewhere. I think I was in Minneapolis or something like that, and I ended up chatting with both of you for, I don't know, a good hour or so, just learning about each other and chatting stuff.
It was right around this time.
It was
around.
Ray and I were
around the holidays.
I want to say it was like the 13th, 14th. It was like the second week of December because we were out in Impact in Minnesota. And when I chatted with you, and I told Ray, I'm like, I don't know, we're gonna do something. We gotta figure out something because there's this brother sister duo thing where we both kind of have that, right? And then we could play on this like U.S. and Canada thing, which is really great because I actually love Canada, but it's really fun to have that back and forth. And I'm like, there's something we can do here. And then just to watch you guys since then, just be everywhere. And the drive started up and now on the network and stuff with us, which is just awesome. It's just been really fun. I do want to know. Let's see what you really do contribute so much back to other Twitter chats, podcasts. They are everywhere from Brad Hughes. By the way, we had Brad on the podcast last night on Teach Better Talk. It comes out on Thursday.
Oh.
Wow. We joked about like how there's always these Brad Hughes mic drop moments. And like the entire episode was just one right after another. It was so good. Anyway, Alex just woke up and realized he should have been here earlier because he's so excited now. Alex says, "Oh my goodness, two of my favorite people in the world," properly spelled for you Canadians, by the way. I'm going to have to watch after the Mastermind just to soak in all the greatness. So we got the Mastermind going on right now. So it's like this weird thing where I'm live right now, but Dave's getting ready to start the Admin Mastermind in 10 minutes. We have this tug of war, so it's going to be interesting to see if any of our Mastermind friends say, "Forget you, Dave. I'm staying with Chey and Pav." We'll see what happens. I want to touch on while you were talking, Chey. I did think a quote came in. I don't know who it is that says this. A lot of people get, I think, credited for it, but that the harder I work, the more good luck I feel I have, or good luck I find. And I think that's something. Yeah, you have to have those. Timing has to be right, but the two of you are very consistent. You're very transparent in what you're trying to do. You're very humble. You just put in the work, and you've put in the work now for whatever it is, 13, 14, 15 months. And that's why these things are happening. Yeah, timing has to line up the right way and stuff. But if you think about it, when we first spoke, it was quite a while later before we did anything together, right? And that was just a timing thing. But during that time while we were waiting, trying to figure it out, we continued to talk. We continued to just check in. We asked questions back and forth. Like, so, you know what I mean? That's just that hard work that you guys put in. And that's one of the things that I love about you there. So I'd love to talk. If anybody has a question to throw at Chey and Pav, please do. I'm going to throw a few at you. Oh, look who it is. Look who it is. Jealous Ray right now. I can feel it through her comment. She says, "Hey, friends," but she really says, "Oh, hey, friends."
In the business, we call that a microaggression.
So I'd love to hear, and I apologize if I have any background noise. I got a little one getting ready to start on her live meet right now with her teacher. But curious to know some of the changes that you have found in yourself and your practices and what you might be doing going forward that have come from just the different year that we're in. I know you've been able to be in with your students for the majority of the time, but you have some kids that aren't. Your classroom sizes are different. Things are just set up differently. What things have you do you feel like you're pulling away from this experience that when we get back to normal, whenever that is, like the real normal, right, that you're going to keep with you and put in practice because of what you've learned through all this trying time that we've been going through in 2020? Chey, we'll go to you first for this one, Chey, since I typically go to Pav.
About time. This is my moment. Don't blow it. In our area, tech has been an issue. It's never been a huge tech dependent in regards to PD or in regards to the physical hardware. And when we went to the remote last year, our school, it was everything was sent out. Any communities or fans that needed gear, we sent all the gear out. And so we started the year with no gear. Even on an anti-racist equity lens, we always talked about how there was such a gap sort of shown by our start of COVID. I argued actually the biggest gap was revealed when we came back, because schools that had access to tech, they didn't have to send it all out when we pivoted to go remote. They maintained their infrastructure of tech. And then what happened is a school like ours, now we're chasing even further because we're not ingrained with technology as soon as we restarted. And so we've had a little bit of a, how are we going to catch up? And hold on.
Announcements?
Because there's a big accident in Toronto, so teachers en masse aren't getting here. So people want to make sure I'm running the announcements in a few minutes. So I'll get back to them in a second. This is what we are. We're authentic. We're just two teachers.
I love it. Yes, and you're good. It's all good.
And so one thing that has grown is that when we started the year, because I had the smaller class, I didn't put any pressure because, bring your own device, because we're not in a community where you can sort of put pressure on kids to say, hey, bring in your own device. I just floated around and I watched. And I saw 4 or 5 kids were consistently bringing in their device. And then our school started to accumulate some tech. And all of a sudden I had enough for a 1-to-1 ratio. And I've never worked with a 1-to-1 ratio before, which all of a sudden meant programs like Google Classroom, Google Suites where there was no, don't want to say there was no point using it. It's tough as a teacher. Everything has value, but I got to prioritize. A word you use all the time, Jeff, is what are your goals? And so if in my classroom space, I can't maximize technology and those platforms, then it's tough to embed and expect a lot of learning, my high-end learning, to be embedded in those platforms, because my kids just didn't have access to those platforms consistently. So my teaching didn't lend itself that way. But when we went one-to-one, the biggest change wasn't in my students. My biggest change became in me. Now I have a platform where I can now shift my teaching, shift my lessons, shift my ideas, embed. I can teach my, explicitly taught lesson where potentially I would have just gone to, say, your notebook activity. Now I can expand that, and we have now digital notebooks, digital portfolios. We can instantly jump into Jamboards. You can see this green screen here. It's not just so I look good. It's actually just the one corner of my room so my kids can come back and we can quickly do which would have been a math talk that might have been a conference in the hallway. You can expand those activities, say, now we've done our conferencing, now we've done our math talk. Why don't we go back here, take a picture of your math, we'll drop it on the green screen and share a brief example. I guess in the business you call that a flip grid or a pear deck, but how many times can I flip grid you? And so, so this physical change in my room, I never would have put a little mini green screen because I wouldn't have had enough quick access to do it. And then on the other side over my wall, I have a little area to take photos because I wouldn't have had access to do it. So one of the big shifting in my teaching has just been the one-to-one ratio has provided me such opportunities to expand my teaching and make the tech and that platform a real foundation of the school. But of course, it doesn't mean tech becomes the tool or tech becomes the teaching. You still have foundational learning based on high-end pedagogy of questioning, inquiry, exploration. But now you have a little tech that can always support a lesson, expand a lesson. Kids can quickly, if they need information, they can go and they can find it. So for me, that has been fantastic. I see Pav giving me the sign that I can keep going. So yes, I'm going to flex on that. Next one has actually been physical space. Because in this hallway, this would have been 140 kids, 5 classes. And so you'd be mindful of your space. So as the year started, I realized I have my room, but now I have this whole big U-shaped hallway and lockers that we're not allowed to use. So all of a sudden I've started to expand. For my classroom now is sometimes in the class, but so often we're sitting and we're working in the hallways. I've got a whole wall of work that we're ascending and we're building to. I have a math problem solving wall. I have a green screen space where I tape more green paper like this over piles and piles of lockers so you can do panel and shoot videos. We got a little space where we do our morning announcements like it's a TV studio. So we made a little TV studio. I go all the way down and the kids have designated a TikTok space, Mr. Cheney, because the sunlight's so good. So we roll down all the space. And then when you start to look at the space, it starts to expand my ideas because there's all these little cube windows. So we're building into a math stained glass window art activity. It's going to fill all those windows in the hallway where typically I wouldn't have felt any ownership over that space. But now, in regards to also adding on to the tech, is just this vast space that I'm using. And I don't know if I'll get a chance to use it again. But one of the learnings that Pav and I talked about actually recently in our podcast is this space and the tech space really allows us to demonstrate students' work from beginning to end in regards to the entire year. I have enough space that we can put up every little assignment we've done, and I don't need to pull it down. I don't have just 6 bulletin boards. And of course, the same is true in digital portfolios and digital notebooks, but it's also the same pedagogy, the same mentality can exist in your physical space as well. So one thing about the space is that Pav and I have talked about, we're going to just continue to have all this work on. There's no need to take anything down. So at the end of the year, the room and the hallway is going to almost be like a yearbook of your learning. And so that's something I've never been able to do before. It's the idea that something I put up in September, that someone might walk by and say it's old, but it's not old. I'm not leaving it up because it's old. I'm leaving it up now because I have the vast space to turn a massive hallway into something theatrical. Reminds me of a quote I've seen. See if I get this right. I've seen churches run like gas stations and gas stations as epic as churches. And so we're turning this into, and I don't necessarily need to get religious per se, but I'm just turning it into a big, beautiful site everywhere. And that's sort of our thought process is that we have the physical space to do these great things. And I've been excited about that. And now that I've recorded this 12 minutes, please send this back to me as one little audio clip so I can release a bonus interlude, the Chey episode.
I like it. Well, this is actually going to be on Teach Better Talk as a bonus episode as well. But yeah, we're going to clip that so that can go up on the Staff Room podcast as well. I think it needs to be. I'm going to get to a question from Alex. I do want to say good morning to Nikki. Nikki says, I'm super bummed I can't catch this live, but still look forward to the replay, popping in between classes to say good morning. So good morning, Nikki. If you're listening on the podcast right now, that's just a reminder that you can watch this live, but you can also go back and watch the replay. It's going to be stored on YouTube, on our Facebook page, everywhere. But you can also catch us on the podcast as well. Andrea says good morning, just checking in for a few minutes before she's got to get to work. So good to see you, Andrea. Pav, do you want to add anything on to Chey? Like, what are the big kind of takeaways for you in this sort of forced switch, this forced rethinking of a lot of stuff? What do you think is going to stick around and continue with you after this?
Definitely the tech piece. I've learned so much about different programs to use in the classroom, different applications, different ways to use the tech. You know, we're using tech in ways that we were not really using before. We're doing a lot of reflection through our technology, and I think it's a little bit natural for students because of social media, because of their ability to connect to that. And so we've sort of turned our classroom community into this place where we can connect a little bit more socially. And so we do a lot of recordings. We're playing around with a lot of technology, and even simple things like presentations. The kids are very used to these presentations where they stand up in front of the class and they read off of their slides. And in an effort to get them away from that standard way of doing things, we're just like, hey, rather than doing it that way, let's just record it and let's stand in front of the green screen and just put your slides behind you. Mm-hmm. And that way I'm forcing you to not be reading off of your slides because you have to be looking at the camera. And so now they're rethinking, okay, I can't read off of the slides. I'm being forced to do, the cue cards or making a few points. And so just those small tweaks in the way that we do things, it's not a huge difference. It's rather than the slide in front of you, it's behind you. Mm-hmm. But just by making that little switch, they're rethinking how they're going to do it logistically, which is making them better presenters. And so it's those little things that we're doing just slightly differently that have really benefited me as a teacher, because I'm having to think about how to change up how we're doing things in the classroom just ever so slightly, but those slight changes make a big difference in the class. Mm-hmm. Another thing that's been big for us is community, because we are a small cohort and we can't really venture off to the other students in the school. We have our own little group that we have to stick to. We're doing a lot more things together. And so we spend a lot of time, there's no Rotary, we spend a lot of time with each other in our space. And we're learning how to turn. Now, my space is not little, it's huge. I'm in the gymnasium, that's my classroom. And so using the gym has really allowed us to create different zones in the room. So we've created like our photo studio, much like Chey has been able to use the hallway and mm-hmm. he's able to set up different space. We've been able to do that in our gym, which is so large. We only use the front half of the gym. So the back half of the gym is all empty. And so we've set up little zones. There's like a little space in the back corner where I have a whiteboard and we take like a different group of kids if we need to go work on something. I'm also blessed to have two other adults in the space with me. So I have a co-teacher who teaches with me, and then we have an EA who works with us as well. And so it's really nice to be able to have the extra bodies in the space so that we can split up. So we turn our one big classroom, it's almost like a one-room schoolhouse. Now we have different areas where we can do different activities. And so that's been really cool. And I know that Chey talked about the space being a huge change for him and something that we've been working towards. That was our last episode. And so we talked at length about that. But it's almost been a blessing, and I don't want to go back to a classroom. Like, I really like this. And so that's, those just little things that have changed, but they've made a big difference. And we've been able to work around it. We've been able to turn it into something that we can use and optimize. And it's become a great place for us to, and I wouldn't want to go virtual. Like, I like this. I like this a little bit smaller classroom size. You can really get the one-to-one with the students. We have more tech available to us at school. There's a lot of things going well for us right now.
Which is good. Alex says, bring back the interludes. Danielle says, Chey, I wish you were my middle school math teacher. I'll tell you what, Ray better get back in here. We got a lot of Chey fans going on right now.
I know what's happening.
I don't know if the universe can handle this right now.
Jeff, we had a different plan here. It's not working out.
I completely dropped the ball. I'm sorry, Pat. This is all my fault. I do want to go. Alex had a question. Question for Chey. You were teaching a new context this year in the midst of all the changes of teaching through the pandemic. Who or what has been the biggest help for you? You kind of touched on some of that with the tech and the space, but what has been the biggest? Because you're teaching differently than you were. You're not just the gym guy, right? So
that's right. I don't teach gym anymore.
What's been the biggest help for that? Because that's a shift. That's a big shift, regardless of a pandemic, right? So then you add all that into the different things. What's been the biggest thing that's, I don't want to say saving grace, but I guess the thing that has really helped you to make all of these changes all at once? That Pav, I figured, but I wanted to give you the opportunity.
Pav has helped me because I don't even have a lot of experience with math. I've maybe taught math once or twice in my career, and I certainly have never taught science. So certainly it's a lot of, how are you doing this? How did you do that? Where can I start here? What worked with that? And that's been really helpful, but also just sound pedagogy of questioning and inquiry and exploration and understanding how long short-term memory works and how my explicit instruction is going to connect to my creative problem solving. It transcends all subjects. When you get comfortable with those pedagogies and the pedagogies of productive struggle, as much as you may say, I've got to promote productive struggle in math, then we just take that and we expand that. So there can be a productive struggle in history. Maybe you do find history class really boring, not very exciting. Maybe I need to mix it up and give some, really edgy photos and paintings from the time to get you thinking. But ultimately, I think I've defaulted to pedagogy and capacities that have been building over throughout the last year. And so although I've been uncomfortable with the content matter, the support from Pav with giving me some resources and tips and starting points, defaulting back to those pedagogies is been foundational. Do I miss being in the gym? I do miss being in the gym, but I almost have a feeling that I won't go back to the gym. I have a sense that now that our school is realizing it can function an entire year without doing Rotary, that without having a specialist, you may not so quickly want to move back. And so I may be teaching a homeroom, I guess. I don't know if it's the same in the United States, but more like a junior classroom where you're the grade 4 teacher and you teach everything. But I do know Ray is a Rotary teacher on grade 5 and 6. In Toronto, we don't typically move that early. It's usually grade 7 and up. So in regards to that, those pedagogies, I think, have been my foundation, allow me to teach differently. But of course, the ultimate secret is that I don't have any gym qualifications. Pav has all gym qualifications. I'm an English and history man by credentials. But clearly, if you look at me, you're like, that guy has not a single credential to his name, except for this one shirt that says I'm unlocking my unlimited potential to be a teacher 20 years in, kiddies.
I don't even know where to go with that at this point.
There's a lot there to unpack.
There's a lot there to unpack. No, that was great, Chey. I think that's an awesome way to look at it. It's gonna be interesting to see. You kind of alluded to, it's gonna be interesting to see what changes all districts choose to go back to or keep in place. And how do they adjust those things? And how do what will we learn or not learn from all of this?
I gotta say that the elimination of Rotary, or not having the specialist subjects in up to grade 8, is actually really good for cross-curricular teaching. I mean, we can really do some full year, whole child work. I mean, we can really embed everything that we want to. We can embed the arts into everything. We can embed much more mindfulness into everything that we're doing. It's just I think it's better for kids right now to just have that stability and not have to be going from teacher to teacher. And then every teacher has a different style of doing things. There's different protocols for everywhere. And even aside from the health aspect, I think that it's in regards to pedagogy, I think it is better. I mean, we can do a lot more broader scope projects with our class, and something that starts from the beginning of the year and takes its way all the way to the end of the year. There's so much more opportunity for creativity. I think that, you know, Chey and I have come up with so many great activities that are cross-curricular, and you know, not only as teachers are we checking things off the box, we've got all of this stuff now ready to go, but it gives us so many ideas of other things that we can do, and we can bring that social justice piece into our teaching, and, you know, really touch on some aspects of our students' lives that affect them. We can bring the community in a little bit. I mean, virtually bring the community in a little bit more. And so I think it opens up a lot of doors for teaching. And I think that, if anything, I think that this is something that may stick and might actually be good for us in our teaching.
It's time. All those things are often compartmentalized by time. And Jeff, you know, Teach Better is a big proponent of mastery learning, but mastery learning functions on time not being a cemented factor. It has to be a variable that can change. And so all those things I've talked about, of course, we can reach out to community, and there is a but. When you're constrained to, I've got 5 different classes and I have them for 40 minutes, can I make sure I can connect it with my community business that can talk with all 5 of my classes at this specific time? Where if you're teaching your one class, you can say, oh, you can reach out to community and have much more flexibility to be able to network and then to be able
come
to
in when they can come in versus
And even the PE department, when I was teaching virtual gym last year, you think, oh, you teach virtual gym, but it actually was a much better lesson, because I wasn't sitting in a 40-minute period, get changed in 5 minutes, warm up in 3 minutes, teaching for 10 minutes, practice the activity, rush and go get changed. I'll see you in 2 days. I could turn it into, let's warm up, let's talk, let's really go over the why of why we're doing this exercise or why we're doing this skill. And then we would stop and we would wrap up and we would be able to draw, okay, let's talk about the activity. Let's talk about how you feel. Let's talk about how this expands beyond just the physical education. And now who wants to stay and talk? When Pav talked about whole child, my PE program was so strong because the physical activity was not just a rush into the moment and then gone to go do science or math or geography. I could pause. The kids weren't in a rush to go somewhere. And so obviously there's value in having a specific science teacher can teach 7 classes because they can hone their skill, and they can probably maximize their time better. But we're certainly discovering the freedom of time really allows a lot of these pedagogies to go into practice. Well, I want you to have a productive struggle, but you can do it for 15 minutes, then we got to go. Actually, if I want to advocate for productive struggle, then time has to be a variable that I'm not worried about, because your struggle might take 3 minutes, but your struggle might take 32 minutes. And I got to be providing authentic feedback and check-ins along the way till we master the skill. But you really can't, you can believe in mastery philosophy, but you're not practicing it when you are bound by time, whether that's your choice or not. Time's a variable. So Pat, when you were talking, I was just thinking time.
You know, Pav, despite what we all say, he's actually pretty intelligent.
Don't tell him that.
I don't know if it's the shirt with a little ball thing on top of his hat. I'm not sure.
It's the tube.
Is that where all the power is?
This is what us Canadians wear, eh? Like, there's only a couple of days a year they won't be wearing this suit. So I'm not quite sure what we're taking shots at. Pav and I will send you one if you like, eh? Like, we're all about sending toques to all our American friends. You pretend you ain't cold, but we know you cold.
I got So I know.
I got nothing. Yeah, that's pretty much what I do. I throw my hands up in
every
the air.
day, just whatever. One of you let me know last night you have to take off here in a couple minutes. So I want to make sure that I'm aware of that. So before who has to leave? Chey or Pav? Who's got to run, or both?
I think Chey's got 9:15 and I've got 9:20.
Okay.
So just
gotcha. So
minutes, yeah.
before Chey has to bounce, I'd love to just update, because I know we do have a lot of Chey and Pav fans watch right now. What's going on right now? Like, what's next for, you got the Staff Room podcast, you've got the drive, you got a lot of other things going on. Like, what's next? What's coming down the pipe here for Chey and Pav that you're allowed to share, of course. I mean, I know there's some secrets.
That eliminates about 95% of what we were going to say.
I'm sorry, I'm locking up. I'm locking up some of my stories I'm about to tell. So we have our staff room podcast that is taking greater vision. We're really honing in. We really think of ourselves as the teacher voice, and not in a negative. We do distinguish in educators in education. Everyone has a different role, and we really can't speak for admin. We can't speak for coaches. We speak for teachers, and we really thrive on the fact that we record Friday, and it's based on what we've done this week, things we've experimented with this week, and we reflect on it instantly. And so that turnover is really important. That consistency is really important, and we've become much more refined in our content. It's not always just reflective. Sometimes we really share a specific tool, a specific lesson. We really get into the nuts and bolts of it. The drive, we found a nice, comfortable spot on Sunday night. It's a very relaxed atmosphere, but as you can tell, I can go off here and there. So the drive is really nice. We're just cementing ourselves in that Sunday night space. School Rubric has helped us with our own live stream, so we're really excited about that. We know a little bit about being live, so we've been excited to jump in that. And we've had Tracy Browders with us on this whole office hours show, and we've had Sam Fekich, and we've had Charles is joining us tonight. So we're really excited about that. And I think a few of the other things we're working on some great side projects, working with some great people. But our confidence, it isn't that we don't want to tell you, is that we want to get a little further ahead. We're not as big a fan in our own progress, because if you've read some of the pedagogies, when you announce early on that you're going to do these things, people give you lots of praise, you get a lot of the rush. And there's a lot of science and research behind it that when you get a lot of that praise early on, you're less likely to ever complete the task, because you've received a lot of what you were hoping to receive in doing the task. But if you can get a lot of it for free, then you're less likely to do the task. And so
I have to say that this is how Chey and I are so different, because Chey just wants to share. I want to tell everybody what I'm doing. And I've had to say, hold on. I know we're excited.
Which is funny, because he just was speaking so intelligently about that. I was loving where you're going, but I guess she taught you that. Okay, I get it.
Hold on.
And I get you. I'm with you.
And then, no. Then Chey said, okay.
Side message coming now. Side message coming now. Check your phone.
Oh, there's always side messages.
So yes, to come back to it, we've really found that we a lot of approaches. It's not about keeping them secret. We just, for our own self-confidence and to keep us moving, we want to get a little further along, so that when we share, hey, we've been working on this fun stuff. We've been working on this fun stuff. It's near completion. Thanks, Pat, for that guidance and support. Hold on, there's a bus coming. I'm going to be thrown under.
No, it was after that. It's like, wait, there must be some research to support what she's saying. Let me go.
Research. I like it.
There is lots of research to support this. Yeah.
He was actually going to hopefully fact check you the other way, and he's like, "Oh man, like
I know she's right."
he sent the research website, a cease and desist letter, but they didn't take it down, so he's got to go with it now.
He's got to go with it.
All right, it's 9:17 for me. I've already had to swap my duty. I've sent an email, a voice message. A teacher's called me because no one can get into school because of the highway closure. I've got some announcements to set up right away. It's been fantastic to talk to both of you. Pav, I'll message you immediately to tell you all the things that I said wrong and how can I improve for next time. And I think I'll jump into Mastermind quickly on my way downstairs to pick up my kids.
Okay. Well, Chey, I appreciate it, brother.
Bye, Chey.
I'm gonna let you enjoy your day, man. Thanks for dropping in with us. There was a lot that he had to do to even be here, which is great. He's out of here.
He literally just disappeared.
I just booted him out. He's good. I can still see him down there. He's like, wait a minute, let me back in. He's waving. All right, I'm waving at you, Chey. Oh man, you guys are.
This is what I deal with.
A lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. We do have a lot of fun.
Joe says, still live with these two? Awesome. Yes, we are still here, Joe.
For a couple more minutes.
We got rid of one. I'm down to one now. We got just a couple minutes left, and then I got to let Pav go as well. Do you want to add anything? He covered a lot of what's going on. He really touched a lot on you. I actually really love the reasoning behind not announcing everything right away.
Yes.
And I know I'm happy to know a few of the little things going on. I know I don't know all of it, but I'm excited for a lot of what you guys have going on and what you're going to be bringing, the value it's going to bring. So anything you want to add to from the Chey and Pav world that people may or may not want to know?
I want to highlight the fact that we really are two teachers that didn't even know how to operate a USB mic 15 months ago. And so It's such a steep learning curve, but once you really get into it, and I do want to say that once you become passionate about something, all of these things come naturally. Nothing feels like a barrier. Everything just feels like a challenge that we can take on and overcome. And sometimes those challenges do seem really, really tough. Like for me right now, the biggest challenge is the website building, and I know you've helped us out a lot with that, and we're learning a lot as we go. Just even learning how to post our episode on the Teach Better Network has helped me so much, because I am learning about everything that's happening behind the scenes and how to go about doing stuff. But that has helped us so much as teachers. It has really helped us because we bring that into the classroom with us, and the students see that vulnerability from us. And sorry, I keep moving further and further back because
I see the light.
The sun is starting to pour into the classroom, and I'm just like,
the same thing. This light here. It's really funny. I'll be on a call and I'm like this.
Yeah,
because I get it, totally get it. It's the world we live in.
So I'll do the last bit like this.
At least it's sunny. It looks like it must be a nice day up there.
It's actually a beautiful day today.
Yeah,
it's making my eyes water.
You're good right there. You have like the sun glow. It's great. It's good.
But so it's been a great process for us, and we're so thankful for everybody that we've connected with, and so many of the people that have been commenting and watching today. You give us life. You give us energy to keep going. We really are just two teachers. This is our day job. My prep ends in 3 minutes. And so it's very much, we try to fit in what we can, where we can, try at the same time as trying to give all of us, 100% of us to our students. So what you guys get is that extra 10%. So we're so thankful, and we're so grateful to you, Jeff, and to Ray, and to everybody on the Teach Better team for always, being huge supporters of us and helping us out along the way.
Well, I'm grateful for you and thankful that we are connected. That you're part of the network. That you took your plan period out, your prep period out to this morning to hang out with me and with us. I know you got to go, so I want to let you go. But really, really appreciate you. I'm gonna drop a few announcements to everyone right here right now. But Pav,
Perfect.
We appreciate you. We'll see you on Twitter because we know that's going to happen. So.
Absolutely, in about 2 minutes. So thank you, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye,
Great
Pav.
talking to you. Bye, Jeff.
All right, Chey and Pav, make sure you go check them out. Two of my favorite people in the world. Just adore them. I'm gonna let you all go and get on with your day. I really appreciate you dropping in with us this morning. I want to let you know about a few things going on. We do have our Admin Mastermind going on right now, actually, and going on again tonight at 7:00. That's every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time and 7 p.m. Eastern Time. teachbetter.com/mastermind for that. Tomorrow, Wednesday, we do have our daily drop-in, like always, at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. In the second half of that daily drop-in is going to bring Dave Schmittou in for our Admin Mastermind Rewind, so you can get a little feel of what was talked about in the Mastermind and where we're at there. So that's always a fun thing. And then I'll be live with Dave Schmittou again at 5 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow for our brain break. So make sure you hang out with us there. We're playing some fun games and having a good time. Thursday, Mastery Chat, 8 o'clock Eastern p.m. Adam Codd is leading us with how to return from break energized for the new year. So that's gonna be a fun one. A lot of tips and tricks and ideas being shared there. So Sheree, thank you. Appreciate you chiming in. Appreciate everyone chiming in. If you listen on the podcast, please like or subscribe. Give us a rating and review. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you're on Facebook, whatever, or Twitter, really appreciate you being here. If you're on Twitch with Sheree, thank you for bringing the Twitch game into us. Appreciate all of you so much. I hope you have an amazing Tuesday. And if you need anything at all, I hope you reach out. You know that you can reach out to us. We are here for you. We appreciate you. Have an awesome Tuesday.